What's up, guys? In this video we're going to talk about liquids, beverages and drinks. We're going to talk about why it's important to learn about this stuff and how they can affect your six-pack abs. So the first thing which we want to talk about is the importance of hydration. Many guys don't really realize that their level of hydration can actually have a big impact on their six-pack abs. Mike, can you talk about that? Why is hydration so important?
Well, remember, your body's made up of about 60-70% water. So when you're working out, when you're doing things like that, you're sweating, you're losing water. So you got to make sure you replenish your water. If not, you'll get dizzy, you'll get cramps, you'll lose a lot of athletic performance. And also, there's a lot of health problems that are related with something as simple as just not drinking enough water. So above it all, make sure you're drinking enough water every single day so you don't run into any health habits or health problems.
And I know, like, I got acquainted with this firsthand because I can remember for this one grappling tournament, I had to come in at 150 pounds, and the day before I was about 154. So what I did is, I didn't drink water for a long time before, and I was able to have a few matches, but by the third match, I was just out of gas, and those 4 pounds of water make a big difference. And if you're down those 4 pounds of water like all the time, what's going to happen is you're going to be lifting less, your cardio is going to suffer, and you're just going to, all your workouts are going to be flat.
Yeah, and you said you were in great shape when you went into that contest too, and it was just water that destroyed everything.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, so let's talk about some things which can really make you dehydrated that you want to avoid. What are some of those things which guys should really cut out?
Number one thing is basically caffeine. Now, I know it's kind of tough if guys are drinking coffee, things like that, but caffeine is bad because it dehydrates you. You can get it from fat burners, coffees, energy drinks, but also drinking alcohol. You ever wonder why you wake up in the morning and your mouth is really dry and also you have a pounding headache? Well, it's because the alcohol went ahead and drawed all the water out of you, and so your body's left dehydrated, that's why you actually get the headaches. But high fats, high salty processed foods will also go ahead and dehydrate you. So make sure that you avoid eating those so this way your body stays hydrated.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now that guys know which things to avoid, what are some ways that they can achieve better hydration?
Well, you got to start off by drinking more water. A lot of guys don't really keep track of how much water they drink, and you don't actually have to really count. But if you're one of the guys that are really dehydrated, you find yourself probably drinking maybe 2 or 3 glasses of water at the most, then you probably want to go ahead and kind of keep track in the beginning. Ideally, the perfect world, you need to drink about 2/3 of a gallon of water. May sound like a lot, but that's actually what your body needs to be able to function perfectly. And if you can't do that, then at least drink 1 large glass of water with every single meal. And now I'm talking about water. So if y'all guys are drinking juice or drinking Kool-Aid or drinking Cokes or anything like that, none of this count. We're not talking about any of those. We're talking about straight water, because that's what your body needs, not all that sugar stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of guys don't realize that, they're thirsty and they drink these things and they think they're getting hydrated by that, but they don't realize that things like, like soda can actually dehydrate you more than if you hadn't drank anything at all.
Yeah, people always talk about, hey, you drink Coke or something like that, it makes you more thirsty.
Yeah.
So don't do that for hydration, just stick with water.
Definitely. Okay, so now that we've covered hydration, let's talk about the calories that guys consume in liquids. Why is it so important to learn about liquid calories? Well,
the reason why it's so important is because nobody really calculates how much calories they drink. They always talk about eating and things like that and try to be low on the calories they eat. But if you think about it, if you think of some normal things that people consume, on a daily basis, people drink things like juice. People drink beer, Coke, sodas, lattes, Starbucks. Those things are really high in calories.
Yeah.
If you think about those, juice runs anywhere from about 200 something calories just for a regular tall glass of juice, and nobody thinks it's bad for you. It's just juice, right? It's healthy, it's a fruit, but it's all these extra calories in it and this extra sugar. A can of Coke, has about 140 calories. A can of beer is like about 110, give or take. Lattes are probably the worst. They're at least about 240, 250 calories. And when you really add all this stuff up, you can easily drink about 700 to 800 calories just in liquids. So you times that by 7 days, and you got at least over 3,500 calories extra that you just drank. So even if you ate completely, healthy meals and stuck with an eating system, if you drank extra drinks and you drank an extra 3,500 calories a week, you'll actually gain 1 pound of fat, because 1 pound of fat is equivalent to 3,500 calories. So now you kind of see, in perspective on how important it is to actually know, which drinks are high in calories and which ones aren't, because it's going to make a very, very big difference.
Yeah, definitely. And, that's huge. And I think that really puts it in perspective how important this is. And, another thing which is really important to consider is that these calories are typically pure sugar. Very different than eating, say, an extra 800 calories worth of zero willpower meals, which is going to, help you in, feed your muscles. This sugar is very addictive and is not going to help you in any way other than just adding fat to your body.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about some other beverages that guys should avoid. What are some of the worst things which guys, commonly drink which really damage their diet?
Well, the biggest one on the list is soda. Coke, Pepsi, all that stuff. Soda is by far, you ever hear people, I always hear people tell me this. They tell me they cut out soda and they started losing weight.
Yeah.
Just that one. And they told me they didn't change a thing on, their physical activities. They didn't start working out. They didn't start doing anything. All they did was just cut out soda. It's amazing, and then next thing I wondered is, well, how much soda were they drinking? And you'd be surprised. People are putting down those 64-ounce big gulps like water.
Yeah.
People, maybe you're doing it, but people are drinking soda like water. They think, oh, wow, I'm thirsty. Let me go ahead and take all these big gulps of soda. And if you cut that out, you'll realize how much calories you're actually cutting out. But another thing is, Kool-Aid or any type of sugar-based drinks. It's just pure sugar. It's sugar water, Why don't you just take out the sugar and just drink the water, So those are really bad for you. What's popular nowadays is Red Bull and, those full sugar energy drinks. Definitely a lot of stimulants, but just full of sugar, The biggest one, I think, it would probably be Starbucks and all the lattes and, all these high sugar coffees, that's very popular. People are constantly, drinking them every morning. They have like a structured routine on how to drink Starbucks. It's like they get one every morning, and then, sometime during lunch, somebody makes a Starbucks run, to Starbucks, and everybody, puts in the money. And yeah, those are really, really bad. Nobody really thinks about, about all the harmful, sugar calories that it's doing. They just think, I'm going to get this kick to, finish me off for the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, those are really, really bad. They got to be avoided.
No, and like we talked about in the Addictive Foods video, the energy drinks and the Starbucks are especially dangerous because caffeine is addictive. Yeah. And if you're addicted to the caffeine and you're getting like a lot of calories every time you need that caffeine, then it's a very dangerous situation to put yourself in. Okay, so I think those are, some of the worst things, but guys generally know those things aren't very healthy. What are some things that are marketed as healthy things, which actually are not healthy at all, and which can really cause a lot of weight gain?
One that a lot of people don't know, and they're very surprised when they hear this, is actually fruit juice. Juice, because fruits are good for you, right? So you're like, well, why is juice bad? Doesn't make sense. Well, here's the reason why. Juice is so high in sugar because you have to take so much fruits to go ahead and condense it into liquid. So if you think about it, if you eat an orange, well, it's not going to kill you. It's good for you, right? It's just one orange. But you think about how many oranges it take to make, a good amount of orange juice, right? A gallon of orange juice. How many oranges is that? And you'll realize that if you went ahead and ate, 50 oranges a day, you'd be overweight. But yet, when you drink juice, it's really the same thing. Every big gulp of juice you're drinking, is almost like whole fruit, So you imagine drinking 10 gulps, like nothing. That's 10 fruits. So you're basically overeating on fruits by drinking juice. So that's really a big surprise to a lot of people. Apple juice, orange juice, any type of fruit punches, which are even worse. Those are most of the fruit punches I've seen are just sugar based. It's almost like Kool-Aid.
5% juice, yeah.
5% juice, right? And to make it worse, guys, Dan made a good point. 5% juice, 10% juice. I think the highest I've seen is probably about 15. Yeah. So you're not even getting the juice. You're getting sugar water with a little bit of juice to make it worse. Gatorade. That's one that a lot of people get confused on too, because who do you see drinking Gatorade? Marketing. They market athletes drinking Gatorade. Guys are physically in good shape drinking Gatorade. So people want to relate to that, and they want to drink Gatorade because they want to be in good shape. But what they fail to remember, and they fail to mention in these advertisements, is only if you're burning that much calories, only if you're that active, only if your body is that dehydrated, you need all that electrolytes, is it beneficial for you to drink Gatorade. If you're sitting in the office and you're on your computer and you're on your phone and you're putting down Gatorade, well, you're not active enough. You're not burning any calories. So you're just consuming all these extra calories with nowhere to go but just get stored. So, make sure that, you don't get fooled on those, and don't drink those Gatorades or Powerades or something like that, unless you're in a situation to where you're totally exerting so much energy. That's the only time when it's actually appropriate, to drink any of those energy drinks or the sports drinks.
Yeah. And one thing which I'd like to know too is that, first of all, you're not going to actually sweat enough just through weightlifting where you're going to need the Gatorade to prevent cramps. And second of all, if you were doing some athletic activity where you're heavily sweating, Gatorade is actually not even good to rehydrate you because it has so much sugar that it actually dehydrates you. So just not good. It's all marketing that it says it rehydrates you. It really doesn't.
Vitamin water. That's another one. I mean, just look at the name, vitamin water. It's really good marketing, because if you watch the other video, we talk about multivitamins. So your vitamins are good to take. So automatically when someone thinks of vitamin water, even myself, I think, well, it's vitamins and it's water and I need both. But again, just extra calories. It's just extra calories that that you really don't need. Diet sodas are a really big one. Now, of course, when you compare, the lesser of the two evils between diet soda and regular soda, well, yeah, go with the diet. Okay, because it is much better, lower in calories, lower in sugars. It's better for you. But if you had to choose between diet soda and water, go with the water. So diet sodas are one of those things that aren't healthy for you. They're just a better alternative. I think one that a lot of guys make a mistake on also is smoothies.
Yeah.
Protein shakes. They go to smoothie factories, or they go to places where they sell smoothies. And you ask the salespeople, what's something good? I want to lose weight, and I want to, and they'll go ahead and recommend some high-calorie smoothie, or one that's all fruit and everything, and they fail to mention how many calories it is and how much sugar is in there. They're just trying to sell you their product, but there's so much calories in these things that it's not worth it. I mean, you drink it and then it runs through your body, and then your body absorbs so much of that sugar, it gets stored instantly as fat. And then afterwards, you're hungry, and then you eat your regular meals. You're just consuming too much calories. Be very, very picky about those smoothies and the extra protein shakes. I would say just to stay away from them altogether. If you need to really take a protein, pick up the protein yourself. This way, you know exactly what you're consuming.
Yeah, definitely. And, I know a lot of guys, they've kind of like fallen into the market, and they've seen all these ripped guys in the magazines, drinking the protein shakes. But, like you said in the video on supplements, that when you stop taking the protein, you actually got a lot leaner and looked a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I used to be one of the guys that were sold on the marketing, always getting shakes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Dan said, if you watch the other video, I talked about actually getting leaner after I stopped taking protein. And I stopped taking protein because I just didn't like the taste. It wasn't because I knew about that, and I just kind of found out by accident.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some bad habits that guys get into when drinking this stuff. What are some of these negative habits that guys need to cut?
Well, one of the biggest things is really just thinking that drinking non-water liquids is replacement for water. Drinking juices and energy drinks and coffees and Gatorade and stuff is just like drinking water, so it's okay not to drink water. Totally wrong. You need to go ahead and drink water and stop drinking all these extra calories. It's just going to give you a gut. Drinking these caffeine is just going to go ahead, and there's so much addictive properties in it. That's why coffee is so hard to stop. That's why people are so structured in drinking coffee. You got to go ahead and stop drinking all of those. Those are really, really bad habits. Really tough to do. You have to probably just go cold turkey on it, because again, because of the addictive properties in a lot of these drinks, and because of the sugar, it's just something you have to stop cold turkey, and then you slowly go ahead and break away from that addiction. But also, the habit of just drinking these liquid calories when you're thirsty. A lot of times, again, has to do with, has to do with thinking it's water again. Hey, I'm thirsty and we'll grab a Coke. You may hear that a lot of times. Hey, I'm thirsty. Who wants a coffee? So just remember, when you're drinking those, you're drinking it just for the taste. You're drinking it for that drink. You're not drinking it for water. You're not drinking it because you're thirsty. You have to kind of get that habit out of your head. Another one I think is when people go out to eat. I mean, going out to eat is bad enough because you always eat these high-calorie foods, but a lot of times they go ahead and order these liquid calories just to add on to it. So definitely got to go ahead and avoid that. That's a really bad habit. Order something, like iced tea, non-sweetened iced tea. Order if you really have to. If you really want to drink soda, diet soda, or just get water. Everywhere I go, I drink water, and I don't have a problem with it. If I really wanted to go ahead and drink some alcohol or something like that, I'll drink a water, and then I'll drink the alcohol I want to drink. But I wouldn't go ahead and drink some type of a juice or some type of liquid calories just because I'm thirsty. And I think it all has to do with creating that structure again. If you're thirsty, Danny, you got nothing to drink, well, and nothing's convenient. I mean, of course you got to drink. You're thirsty, so you're just gonna grab whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's very important that you create a structure even for drinking like you do with your nutrition, okay? So always have water available. Make it so available that it's really hard for you to go ahead and make an excuse to grab something else. Have a lot of bottled water available. And then, this is something you want to make it very convenient to do. So if you watched the videos on snacking, we would talk about not, leaving snacks on the table everywhere or leaving it by the couch. But now when it talks about water, when it talks about good snacks, especially drinking, leave water in places that are very convenient for you to grab. You want to leave it by your bedside. I always have a water very close to me. I have one right beside my bed, and I have one in my car, and I even have one right now, in this video, and I hid it over here in the back so y'all won't see it. And this is how I do it. It's a gallon of water. I'm very considerate. I write my name on it, so this way nobody drinks my backwash. But it's just a gallon of water, and I'm always drinking water because I know the importance of it, and I make it very convenient too. And you'll see that I have it in a gallon, so this way I'm always tending to go ahead and chug a lot of it instead of drinking it from a straw or drinking just a little small glass of it. So create that structure so this way allows you to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about some beverages which are good and healthy for guys to drink. What are a few that guys should start drinking?
Well, definitely water being number one, but also tea, unsugared tea, unsugared coffee. Even though it does have the caffeine in it, which does dehydrate you, but if you had to choose between, again, lesser of the two evils, Starbucks latte or some type of cappuccino or something versus black coffee, black coffee is better, okay? Crystal Light or anything like that, to where it's very, very, very low in calories and it gives you all the taste that you want. That's actually something that I do like to drink besides water, is I drink a lot of Crystal Light. Stevia-based beverages. Stevia is basically a natural, it's a natural sugar, and it's a very, very sweet, so you don't have to use a lot of it. And there's products that are made with stevia. And I think you were mentioning a few of those. I think you talked about like some sodas are made. Diet sodas are made with stevia.
Yeah, they actually have diet sodas which are made with stevia, and the more common form of stevia is that they just sell it in packets or just in like powdered form. And one thing which you can do is you can actually just take water, put a little bit of stevia in it, and take some lemons and like squeeze the lemons, or just put some lemon juice right in the water, and there you have kind of a pretty easy to make lemonade substitute, which tastes pretty good.
Yeah. You told me about that. I think I tasted that before. I had a buddy make that. It tastes pretty good. It tastes just like lemonade.
Yeah.
And everything is natural. You're squeezing the lemons in yourself. You're putting natural sugar, and it's water based.
Yeah. So those are some good alternatives which you can use. So let's talk about some positive drinking habits which guys should start doing. What are some of those? What should guys start doing regarding liquids?
Well, you want to make sure you keep water available. So drink water whenever you can. Okay. Anytime you're thirsty, first thing you should be is let me go grab some water. Only drink liquid calories on rare occasions. That means a lot of times, if you're out, you're out at a bar, you're out at a restaurant or something like that, and somebody really wants you to try this cool drink, okay, fine, drink it. Or if you just have no water available. But again, if you keep it available, if you set the structure up right, that shouldn't happen too much. But also practice drinking water in large quantities. I developed this years ago of drinking water with big gulps. And the idea behind that was, well, I need to get a lot of water in. And if I drink little sips, it's going to take a long time, and B, you're not very motivated to sip, 100 times versus, maybe 10 big gulps. So I started drinking it with big gulps, and I realized, well, hey, I can put down the amount of water I need to drink a lot faster, and I was able to actually finish, over 2/3 of a gallon of water, which is a good amount of water. So always take water in big gulps, but do the opposite. When you're drinking liquid calories, drink them in small gulps, because you want to do the opposite effect. You don't want to go ahead and gulp down, large amounts of juice or beer or something like Kool-Aid or something. Take those in small sips, and you'll realize that you will cut down on them by doing it that way. And just kill the problem where it starts. Stop it at the root. Just don't buy them. You'll see that you have a grocery list of good things to buy, and don't put it on the list, and just stick with it and just don't buy it, because if you buy it, you're eventually going to drink it. It's just like bad snacks. So just don't buy it, so this way it won't be available. Again, setting up that structure, to succeed.
Definitely. Okay, now let's talk about a liquid which is especially problematic, alcohol. I know that I've struggled with this in the past, where a lot of my calories would come from this, and I know a lot of other guys they struggle with a lot of their empty calories coming from alcohol and alcohol-related situations. Can you talk about why it's so important to learn how to handle alcohol?
Well, yeah, that is very important. I mean, we're very social guys. We don't. We get out all the time. So definitely, like I said, having a balanced life. So. I drink alcohol, and I don't drink it very, very often, but there are times where I still drink it. So very important. I mean, alcohol are by far, probably the most popular amount of liquid calories that people drink, because you usually don't just drink one beer. You usually drink a few of everything. And so imagine this. I mean, if you think about how much a typical beer has, it has average about 110 calories. If you go with the regular one or a light one, somewhere around there. If you think of other drinks that people usually get, let's say, for example, a White Russian, has about 300 and something calories, give or take. If you drink, let's say, 5 beers and a few White Russians, I mean, you're going to be somewhere in the ballpark of about 700-800 calories. If you go out and drink just 2 nights a week only, which isn't bad, let's say just on the weekends, I mean, you're consuming almost 3,500 calories. You're almost consuming 1 pound of fat per week. So you go ahead and times that by 4, and you gain 4 pounds of fat by just drinking. And and this isn't a very absurd number. Look at guys that drink a lot. There's a reason why people came up with the term beer gut, beer belly. It's literally from alcohol. It's from liquid calories. And so just keep that in mind. All these extra calories you're drinking, especially alcohol. It's just going to get you the gut, which is totally, the reason you're in this program, to avoid. And of course, again, alcohol is going to promote bad eating, because once you're a little buzzed, you don't really care as much. You're not on a conscious level. So, it's definitely need to know how to control that, especially if you're like me and, you expect to drink, sometimes. So you definitely need to know what to do.
Yeah, and I remember, especially when I was in college, I would do that all the time, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. But I think if I thought about it like that, and I thought, this is like actually 1 or probably closer to 2 pounds of fat per week that I'm doing this, then I probably would have thought twice about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the bad alcoholic drinks which you really, really want to avoid. What are the worst ones?
Beer. Beer's probably number one. It's in our culture to be manly, like you watch the Arnold Pumping Iron, where they're like, "What do you drink, Arnold? Do you drink milk?" And he's like, "Milk is for babies, I drink beer." and so we grew up with this mentality, man, drink beer, so but it's so high in calories, and you can't just drink one. You know, it's like a potato chip. You can't eat just one. We can't just drink one. You know, so you got to find a way to control that. You know, beer is by far, you know, one of the highest ones in calories, you know, that people consume on a normal basis. But cocktails, high calorie cocktails, rum and coke, Jaeger bombs, you know, margaritas, screwdrivers, you know, martinis. Those are all ones that are really high in calories, and you know, and they're just ones that are just the worst to drink. I think another one is large amounts of wine. Sometimes if you drink just a glass of wine, it's not so bad. And again, you know, wine is probably, I'd say, probably the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, if you drink one glass of wine, it's not really bad. Calories aren't too high. But if you're really putting it down and you're finishing a bottle or two, then it's just in the same category as beer and all the others. You know, it's very bad.
Yeah, definitely. So really important to avoid all those.
Yeah.
So what are some bad alcohol drinking habits that guys really have to cut out?
Happy hours is definitely one of them. You know, happy hour where they have drink specials and, you know, snack specials, things like that. Definitely avoid that, you know, because there's no reason why you're going to go to happy hour unless you're trying to go ahead and get as many drinks as you can and pay as least amount of money as you can. You see how that kind of goes together, right? It's kind of going to a buffet and thinking, I'm going to go ahead and you know, consume small portions. It doesn't really happen. But also, having just beer in your house as an alcohol beverage instead of having an alternative. You know, so this way you're setting up a structure to fail, because if you only have beer and that's the only alcohol you can drink, well, when it comes to wanting to drink, you know, you're just going to grab whatever you want or whatever you have, and if it's beer, well, then it's beer. And again, another one is just you know, stopping the problem where it starts. Just don't buy so much, you know, alcoholic drinks, you know, and especially the high calorie ones. Don't buy the margarita mix. Don't buy, you know, the White Russian mix, you know, and all that stuff. Because if you buy those, you're going to drink it. And if you have it now, you know, some of those mixes and things like that, I probably recommend, you know, putting them away. You know, this way you don't see it. It doesn't get you to want to drink them. I think another one is going to places where they only serve, you know, only serve beer, only serve, you know, these high calorie drinks. You know, if you're going to go to these social gatherings, at least have an alternative, you know, and, you know, instead of going there and getting stuck with only certain things and just telling yourself you have no choice but to drink the bad ones.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, you know, especially back when I was in college, I was in a fraternity, and, you know, like every party was like that, where, you know, there's a keg and that's your only choice because there's really nothing else. So, you know, kind of one strategy that I would use as I got a little smarter towards the end of college was that I would have lower calorie alcohol before I went out. So that way, you know, when I was there, I would only have to drink a beer or, you know, two at the worst, and it wasn't a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. I've done the same also.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, obviously no alcohol is ever actually going to be good for you, but if a guy is going to drink, then what's some alcohol which is going to be the least damaging?
Well, believe it or not, you know, liquor is pretty much the best alternative, other than not drinking. So because they're lower in calories. If you look at a shot of vodka, for example, they're probably in the range of about 60 calories versus the average beer in the range of about 100 or more. So, you know, just like what Dan said, you know, a lot of times when I go out for a social situation or some type of a social event and I know I'm going to be drinking, what I'll do is at home, you know, I'll probably have, you know, a bottle of vodka, and I'll go ahead and mix me up maybe like a vodka and tonic or a vodka on the rocks or a vodka and some type of no sugar based mixer. And I'll go ahead and pre-drink. So this way I can go ahead and have a little bit of alcohol in my system, because I know I'm going to be drinking anyways. But this way I'm feeling good, my calories are kept very low, and then when I do go to the gathering, I go to the event, you know, I don't have to go ahead and feel like I need to get hammered and be on everybody else's level and, you know, and put down, you know, 5-6 beers or, you know, or try to put down a whole bunch of sugary drinks. So it's kind of similar to facing social situations for eating healthy. You know, I eat a zero willpower meal beforehand, so you want to do the same for here. You know, drink some of this stuff. Have a pre-drink beforehand and kind of set yourself up so this way you won't be tempted, you know, later on.
Yeah. And I think, another effect of liquor beyond just a direct calorie comparison, because, a shot of liquor will typically have about 60 calories, whereas an alcoholic drink, beer around 110, as we said before, up to, the bad things like a White Russian, which are around like 340. But beyond that effect, another effect of liquor is that because it doesn't have carbohydrates and sugar with it, you're going to get drunk a lot faster. Yeah. Now, assuming that you're reaching the same level of drunkenness, this is going to cause you to consume less alcohol to achieve the same effect. Assuming, again, that you're not just getting more drunk because you're drinking the liquor. So if you are getting to that same level of drunkenness, then, obviously the calories directly are going to be better, and you should be consuming less alcohol to get the same effect.
I mean, yeah, and that's really the only reason why somebody would drink alcohol. I mean, they're not drinking it for the taste of it. I mean, most of it tastes like crap. I mean, look at the faces that you make when you drink a shot. You don't smile, ooh, that's so good. You're like, you're like trying to get rid of the taste with lemons and stuffing crap in your mouth. So you're only trying to get drunk. Yeah. So why do it in a high calorie way when the end result is just, feeling buzzed and relaxing and having a good time? You might as well do it in the most low calorie and the most healthiest way.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Okay, so what are some positive drinking habits that guys can develop to really minimize the damage from alcohol?
Well, you want to start off by not drinking as often. I would really recommend if you can drink less than one time per week, that'd probably be best, and so this way you can lessen the chances of consuming so much liquid calories, especially in alcohol. But also another one is trying to avoid people that are always getting drunk, avoiding it. A lot of times it could be your friends, that always calling you, hey, let's go out and get hammered, let's go out and drink. And, if you avoid hanging out with those people as often, you'll find that you're not going to put yourself in such a situation as often. And another one, I guess, is besides avoiding people, it's just avoiding situations to where, you're always pressured to drink heavily. A lot of times, when you're hanging out with certain people and stuff, and it's all about drinking and who's drinking the most, and it's all about the bar. And so if you're going to step into one of those situations, you may want to go ahead and make some new plans for that night.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say, kind of a extreme example of this was the fraternity that I used to be in college, because, first of all, there was parties going on like 3 nights a week at my house where there's only beer. There's kegs, which encourage you to drink more beer. I can remember, my roommate who lived in the room next to me would go through a case of 30 beers every single day. So, I mean, that really screws with the reference frame, because I would drink, 6 or 7 beers on a typical night, and I think I'm keeping it under control, when really, that's not keeping it under control, and it was just totally the wrong frame of reference to have. So, if you can just avoid these social situations where you're pressured to drink, in the long term, it is going to affect you.
Yeah, happy hours. That's another one.
Exactly, yeah.
So many guys are going to these happy hours, and that's they almost make it like part of their routine. And again, you need to find a better alternative than just going to happy hour every day after work and just getting hammered. You can find something else to do, maybe every day after work. So, but again, yeah, just avoid these situations altogether. This way, you won't be in them.
Yeah. Okay, so what are a few action steps that guys can take to start managing their liquids, their liquid calories, and their alcohol consumption better?
Well, basically, you can start off by avoiding these situations, as soon as possible. It's sometimes it may take a little bit of time, but make an attempt to do that. Look at the areas, look at the social events you're getting into, and try to make alternatives. If you do have to drink, go ahead and do the pre-drinking, drink the drinks that will be better for you. But also, if let's say you have a lot of drinks, at home, and you're watching this video right now, then what you can take immediately, the action would be go downstairs or go to your kitchen and look for the drinks that are bad for you. Look for all the liquid calories that are bad, all the juices and all that stuff, and make it very inconvenient to drink those. What I recommend for a lot of people before was, take the beers that you have in the fridge, take anything that doesn't have to be in the fridge, and put them in your pantry, and put them on the bottom in your pantry. So this way, every time you look in the pantry and stuff, you're not gonna go into the bottom and want to go and drink a warm beer or or warm Kool-Aid or something. So make it very inconvenient. And of course, best would just be to throw it away, but If you're like me, you feel you feel like you're wasting, beer. It's just one of those rules you grew up. You don't waste alcohol, right? So, put it away. I know, of course, whatever you have in your kitchen, you are going to eventually drink, but you may run into an opportunity to where you may go to some gathering and they may ask you, hey, can you bring some beer? Can you bring some alcohol? You know what? Good. Perfect time.
Okay.
Grab your stash, bring it over there, and now you didn't throw away anything, so it works out. But I would say do that immediately, so this way you can start making that change.
Definitely. And I would say another thing, if you live in an area where you don't have any drinkable water, where your tap water is not drinkable, go out and buy plenty of drinkable water, bottled water, gallons of water, whatever. I have a friend who lives in an area where he can't drink the tap water because it's so bad, and he doesn't really have drinkable water around his house, so he has no choice but to drink liquid calories all day. Really avoid that. If you're in that situation, get lots of water you can drink.
Yeah, definitely. And also just go out and buy the alternatives. If you're not drinking a lot of water right now, you're not used to drinking water because you like to have taste. Drink the alternatives we talked about, the unsweetened teas. Drink the Crystal Lights. Crystal Lights has a lot of flavor, and you can actually control, the amount of flavor you want. If you want to dilute it, just add more water. And if you want to make it stronger, add more Crystal Light powder. Very low in calories and super low in sugar. So this way you can set up these alternatives, and again, structure your environment to succeed, and it goes the same for drinking liquid calories.
Definitely. And actually one final one, which I'm probably going to absorb pretty soon, which I haven't done yet, is doing what you do and carrying around that gallon of water and just really incentivizing yourself to drink it more. This is something which I haven't done yet, but I think it's going to be something really good. Some of your other habits that I've absorbed, like the zero willpower eating system, the workouts and everything. I think that's going to be my next one that I'm going to work on.
Yeah, and you can tell me it's like with the handle, it's so easy. The mouth is so big. It's you couldn't sip just a little bit of it. So, and you'll find that we talk about how much water you need to drink, and 2/3 of a gallon. So when you look at it, it's very easy for me to measure the amount of water I need to drink because a lot of times I just kind of look at my gallon. So it kind of lets you know where you're at throughout the day. So you don't have to do that if you don't want, but I found it to be very easy. And again, I always do things that are the most easy and the most simple way of doing it. So this way, I can actually do it. So if you feel the same, get yourself a gallon of water. It's like what, 50 cents, and you can refill it every time. So it works out good.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's it for liquids. Hopefully you learned a lot and you're going to implement all this stuff and really improve your diet.
And we'll see you in the next segment.